Hello and welcome to the News Minute and News Laundry. I'm Nidhi Suresh. Today we have with us really the woman of the year, Kani Kusruti. Kani has acted in All We Imagine as Light and Girls Will Be Girls, which has both received immense international acclaim through 2024. Kani, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us. I wish you were here in Delhi, but you're joining us from Goa. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very much looking forward to talk to you actually.
Kani, I know the meaning of your second name, but I actually want to start by asking you the story of why you chose Kusruti as your second name.
You want the whole elaborate story or you want like
No, we want the whole elaborate story.
Okay. So both my parents, both of them didn't want me to have a second name. They just gave me Kani and they thought that is enough. And my mother came to put me in school, the first day of school, and at the admission, they were asking what's my caste and religion, and then my mother was like, "We don't believe in that. Can we skip that?" And they were like, "No, you have to put caste and religion." And my mother was like, "No, we don't. We have the right to not put it. It's our choice." And then she had to get into a bit of an argument of telling them this is our right to not put caste and religion and all that. Then finally they agreed, which took some 15-20 minutes, I think. And then they were like, okay, what's her second name now? And there was no second name. And they were quite pissed at her. They were like, she has to have a second name. And how is that? And they were like, okay, we will put her father's name. And then my mother was like, no, definitely not. Yeah. And I think she was also tired by then all these arguments. So she was like, okay, I'll just put K. That's her initial, Kani K. Because I think my name started with K. She did not think, she just put K, and I never knew what this K stood for. So my friends would ask, what is this K for you? And nobody knew. Then finally, when you grow up, like I think 10th standard or 12th, I don't remember that, but you need to get your passport or electoral ID, all that time arrived, and you need to expand this K. And I go back home and I ask, what is this K? And both my parents are such a sport, so they wanted to give all these random ridiculous words like, they said you put a Kalli means thief or liar.
Yeah, liar.
In Malayalam, they said you're such a liar, you should put Kalli, that's best. Or Kunda Mandi, or like all these bad words they were saying.
Kunda Mandi would translate to, for our viewers who are not.
Kunda Mandi is like a troublemaker or like a, I don't know, like it's kids, you just call kids sometimes like, it's such a, like bit of trouble, like, but in a sweet way,
Yeah.
So that kind of multiple words they were saying, and in that only I think my father said Kusruti. Like before I asked him what about this or something, and I was also getting annoyed because I'm this teenager who has no patience, I think. So I was like, okay, Kusruti sounds right only. It's kind of my behavior, and then I went and put it like that.
Yeah, and Kusruti means mischief.
Mischief. Yeah. And I thought, okay, then that's how it became. And then it was all only in papers. Nobody ever called me that. Because nobody knew that. The only people knew was like bank people or some government office. I have to go for some paper. And if there is a Malayali, they'll be like, this is your name. And they get amused and I get really nice treatment because of this. This is first privilege I had, I think, my second name. And then I think when I studied abroad, there sometimes they call Miss Kusruti, and I'm sometimes sitting thinking it's someone else, and I'm like, oh, it's me. And then I go. I think social media like Facebook is the first place, and then Instagram is where I actually started putting this name. And then a lot of people thought it's a fun name, but it's actually my name. And then nowadays people call like Kusruti and all, then I'm like, okay, but I still don't, even though this is my second name, all my close people calls me Kani, so I feel Kani as me myself. Then this is just an attachment, and it's a fun thing. It's nothing more than that, I think.
Yeah. No, I want to actually talk about your last year, which I'm sure you've talked about so many times in all the interviews you have already done. But tell me, how has it been for you professionally? Has this meant more work opportunities? Because I know like last year was your big year, but you have been in the industry for quite a long time and you have been working for so long. You've done theatre for so long. Has this year turned anything around for you professionally? Are you getting more scripts that you want to work on?
I can't say that right now, as in like whenever, I mean, one can say these kind of visibility is a certain kind of course, the visibility that you get can bring you more opportunities, of course. But in my case, not just this, even before, like when I won the state award, there was a certain visibility came to me than ever before, which has brought in some other values that should be there even otherwise, which was like having a contract, having been able to get paid correctly, and all that started happening to me after the state award. People in Kerala, at least, they take my word seriously. Or but all this should be like the basic rights for any artist. But the basic right of an artist was given to me by winning a state award. So that is the situation really in at least in Kerala. Most of the time, I think people are actually trying to change that. There is some change, and it will eventually happen, hopefully. But other than that, even back. Generally, I was asked by other interviewing people, oh, now that you won the state award, do you think more opportunities would come? It didn't. Like, I actually always mostly got work from Bombay, or even though I don't speak Hindi well, somehow characters that I played from South, the characters were from South, and they didn't mind my accent or some broken Hindi. So I've been always approached from Bombay rather from Kerala film industry much. Similarly, when this happened also, I don't know my experience, and not just mine, even my other friends, colleagues. I have always felt I don't think such things bring that kind of a change. But yes, I have more, like the visibility has been like in a way that there are some interesting scripts have come away, but not because of this. It came to me a year before. So it had nothing to do with this, I thought. But I don't know when that will happen. But particularly this particular journey I was part of, I don't know if anything is coming. I will be able to say that a year after, I think. Okay, yes, because of this happened. There are some stories that comes to me, but I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's great. It's good. Some are good. Let me see. I don't know. Like it's too early for me to really judge the turn around of this year in terms of, in a year's or 2 years time, I can probably say like, oh, significantly there was a difference or something. Now I don't know. There are scripts coming, but I don't know how it's gonna turn.
So are you now busy doing interviews, or are you taking a break? Have you kind of stopped and taking some time out to have fun?
I am, according to everyone else, I'm very busy, but I'm at home. Please at home because you guys will not put this out soon, no?
I don't know. Hopefully next week, if that is enough time.
No, by then I'll start working, so it's okay. Last 3 weeks I've been like, I just wanted some time, and I'm not a person who like traveling a lot or like being home a lot. So now I'm home. And
yeah. You know, I watched All We Imagine Is Light. And I mean, it's such a beautiful movie. But throughout the watching of the movie, when I was watching your character Prabha, there were moments where I wanted to reach in and like, she's so intense, and there's so much grief, and there's so much stoicism that I felt almost like shaking Prabha and wondering, why are you so sad? You know?
Yeah, even I have felt it when I read. I was like, this is like that. Like I was telling Payal that this character like angries me, man. Like
So you didn't relate to Prabha as a character at all?
No, I can't. I don't have anything like Prabha actually. Like actually, I don't have anything like any of the characters in the film. Nothing. Not even Anu. I'm not any of those women. I'm not. Never been any of them, I think.
Did you wish you played Divya Prabha's character, because that had a little bit edge, and there was a lightness?
I didn't wish or anything. That was the part I was supposed to play. Payal has come to me 9 years ago with the script, and she saw Memories of a Machine, and she said, Kani, I would want you. So she didn't know me. I didn't know her. She was just studying in FTI. Nobody knew any of like we were just like some people. She in the different part of India. She got my contact from someone, wrote to me an SMS and said that I watched something of yours. I would like to work with you. There's something I'm writing. It's to Malayali nurses. Don't ask me why I'm doing this. And I did ask her. I called her and said, why would you do this? So she gave me why she was writing it like that. And it was pretty interesting. I was very moved and happy by, like, I was just happy that, someone, not even from Kerala, someone else watching something I'm doing in a short film that too. And then reaching out, I was very touched by that, Chester, of course. So I was already happy before reading. It's like, I would like to work with her. Like, I was just happy that she saw me, just that. it was humbling. And she said, there is this character, because I watched this film, I'm going to develop this character thinking you playing. And that was what Divya played only. It was that character only.
Okay.
So then she used to send me different drafts. Then she said, now this year it's not going to happen. Then she got a grant to make the other films that she's made. So she said, I'm going to Paris. So we were always in touch, kept in touch for all these years. And then 2 years ago, she said, okay, finally it's going to happen. And I said, now I can play that young part. And Payal is also like,
Why did you feel that? What do you think changed for you?
One is like, the younger part is like a 25 or 26-year-old and I am 39. So I'm like, that is a bit too much, I think. I don't think. So she also said, yeah, and we never thought of me playing the other part anyway, like Prabha. It was always Anu only. So she said, because when she approached me, I was 30. So she said, see, if you want, you can play the other also, but that's much elder character. And she was seeing me more like Anu, because she was developing, also thinking how I'll play all that things. So then I said, yeah, maybe I'll audition for Prabha and see if I can. So I gave one audition and that was not that great, I think. And then I was like, don't feel bad, because we were always in touch. I said, I would love to work with you. But she's also a very sweet person, Payal. So she will feel, oh, Kani always wanted. But my first audition might not be good. And she's this person who would be like, oh, I don't want to say no to her, because we always will work. She's very sweet that way. But she's very professional too. She will say it, but I know that she'll find it difficult to communicate. So I said, why don't you audition other people also? I mean, I have no problem. I would love to work with you, but I understand. Anyway, we thought of me playing always the younger part, and now that years have passed, so it's okay. She said, yeah, okay, Kani, I'll audition. Then I go to Kerala. Divya was auditioning for Prabha. Everyone I know was auditioning for Prabha. Every house I was going to Kerala, everyone was like, Kani, I have got this audition. Somebody called Payal Kabadia, this character Prabha. And I was like, I also shot for some people sometimes. And then,
so you shot somebody else's interview audition as well.
Yes. And then after a few months, Payal said, that day we were very rushed. In the way we did audition, Kani, I would like to audition you one more time. Will you come again? So even Divya was also called again to audition for Prabha. Then we did audition, and Payal selected me. Then Payal thought Divya can also probably try Anu. Then she auditioned for Anu also. I don't know how many people have auditioned for all the part in this film. Everybody has auditioned for everything. Then we were there was one moment, there were a lot of friends. All of us have auditioned for this film. It was very funny. And I had a joke because Payal's audition continued for all one. One of my friends was like, he also has audition for one of the parts. And he said he didn't get it, but he was like, oh, good. He made this joke. He's like, maybe when we are old, also we'll say, did Payal found her
protagonist?
found finally the doctor, whatever. Or she asked, did she find her? Like, I told this joke to Payal, saying, you mean people.
And what about for Girls Will Be Girls? Anila, the character you played there, is kind of the opposite in some ways of Prabha, right? She's more lighter. She has a sense of adventure in a different way. And is Anila somebody you liked or related in any way?
I don't like that woman at all. No, I'll tell you. So Prabha, I immediately understood. I know women like that. The difference was when I read Payal's film, I knew all these characters. I've seen them. I've observed them. I come close to them. But I never wanted to be. If at all in Payal's film, the one person I look up to a little bit is Parvati. Like I am personally also not so fearful, resilient. But I thought Parvati is someone I look up to. As I said, I'm not even like Parvati. I don't have that courage. But I'm not like Prabha. I will move on. I take decisions. And then I'm not like Anu also. So it's like none of the characters really resonated with my own self. But I look up to Parvati kind of a person. In that kind of I would like to be that kind of a spirit,
Yeah. No, but you were saying you knew women like Prabha, but do you think doing this role helped you engage with them better?
So I don't know if I'm going to engage with them now, but I felt that it opened up me a bit because generally even like Prabha, like I have had people like that, and I will be like, you're making something more complicated than what it is. Just move on. That's what I feel always. Okay. I mean, of course, I'm not in their shoes, and I'm way more privileged, so it's very easy for me to say it. But I think doing the film made me think like, can I just be a little more open-minded to them, and that made me think. Anila, what happened when I read him, like, who is this person? I don't know even like this. I don't know. Personally, I don't know even like that. So I was like, I don't understand what this woman is doing. What kind of mother? What is she doing? I didn't get it at all. I absolutely didn't get it. I told Shuchi, we called, and she said she liked my audition. So she was like, what do you think? And I said, see, these are the things I don't know. I don't understand. I'm not able to understand this person. I'm able to understand Meera a little bit. I don't understand this woman. So Shuchi started talking to me, and in the Zoom call when we talked, I found Shuchi extremely open-minded as a person. As a director, I thought, I'm just getting casted to this, and I was completely open and not understanding it, and in my own language, I was not sugarcoating my words or anything. I exactly reflected what I thought, and I thought she was so amazing in taking it so maturely and extremely open-minded. She was like, okay, that's how you see. What do you think like this? And she kept engaging with me in the right way, and that made me feel I would love to work with this director. Like, it's rare of an opportunity to work with someone. I mean, otherwise also I would have worked. It's not that I get a lot of work. I would work, but I was very happy and excited to work with this director. That feeling came. Because when you don't really understand the part or the story, it's not easy to enact them. So I'll feel very, no confidence, right? So, but talking to her, I was like, maybe I'll be able to, because there is some growth happening talking to her. And then they were looking for Meera's part, different actors were doing, and I was also reading with them. And when Preeti came on board, that day, instantly, the way Preeti was interpreting Meera, I immediately started understanding my character. It was such a great experience. I was like, wow, this actor just brought in something. I naturally is becoming Anila. Something is happening. And of course, for me, it was Shuchi, the director, and Preeti kind of made me understand Anila. So I was a bit lost in the beginning, not the shoot when we were reading and all. Then Shuchi and I worked on a little bit of physicality of Anila, how she will walk or sit or dance, a little bit. We have worked, and I have also put on weight for that film, which I continue to keep in All We Imagine a Slide also, with spies at some difference of physicality. Because Chayaji, Divya, and I were kind of similar height, similar kind of, so it's nice to bring some different kind of body language, and also the way we look and everything. That would also be nice. So I'm saying, like, of course, putting on a bit of more weight, and Anila's character, I put on a tiny suit also to change the way how my body otherwise is. So all that helped me, and I think I'm not going to I don't think it's only the internal way of understanding a character. For me as an actor, the costume helps a lot to understand the character. Of course, the set design and everything, how they behave in the house and everything, but costume helps me a lot, and how I am that time and how you're wearing that, all that kind of helps me to behave in a certain way. So this bodysuit and the way I walk, slightly change the walk, and all that kind of then helped me understand Anila. But after doing the film, people who have watched it have told me, I know that I have this experience, or they will say, this happened to me, this person I know, this is like my mom, or oh my God, where were all of these people? When I read it, I was like, I don't know who this person is. That's how it was. But both directors I was very fortunate to work with both. Shuji and Pal is very different directors. But the experience of me as an actor was a very fulfilling, fruitful experience in terms of growth and learning and understanding and all that.
I think there was an interview where you also said about how, I mean, All We Imagine As Light was also an all-female set, and there were more women working on the set, right?
Girls Will Be Girls had.
Sorry, Girls Will Be Girls was an all-woman set. But you had mentioned in an interview about how even if it's a female director or a woman director or a woman set, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no male gaze, right? So were there instances in the film where you felt like there was Along
That
the
interview people asked me, I said, I'm not answering this.
Okay, you don't have to give us instances, but in general, I think because there's a lot of emphasis on the writer's room now in filmmaking, do actors get to really have a say in the script? Are you able to sit down with directors and say, is this portion something we can change? Can we rewrite it? I don't agree with it.
So the gaze is, I don't think the gaze only comes from just in the writing. The gaze,
Hmm.
the cinema is such a visual medium that
Yeah.
the gaze mainly comes from the camera for me.
Hmm.
Also, the interpretation and the story and the character, all that is there. But while we say that, even someone drinking a cup of water
Hmm.
and you're shooting that, what kind of aesthetics is going behind that, and who is getting titillated by that, or how it is doing that, and what angle it can be, how far from the object to this action can be. If it's a moving handheld camera, what it invokes on someone. If it's the moving camera from this girl's chin to the lips to bringing, how that makes someone feel. A wide angle shot of some girl sitting on a next to a table and drinking, how does that, what does that image invoke me, right? So for me, how you are using the camera, how the actors using the body language, all this is part of the gaze. And how you sit when other people are there, how do you want to present yourself? And like as an actor, then actually primarily an actor should think how the character would do. But in a lot of films, sometimes it's nothing to do with the character. It's really, are you getting the attention of all the audience right there or not? So the gaze is not alone in the writing, gaze is in everything, every aspect of film for me. And like I said, it's not just because a female will direct or a female DOP is there, the gaze will just disappear. We are all growing up, understanding, learning, unlearning the aesthetics, beauty, what is beauty, why something is sensual, why something is sexual. So all that. And so we can sit and study also. Of course, at one point it will all become subjective. To that extent, I'm not saying. Of course, we reach a certain place, then it all can turn into subjective liking and saying this is sensual for me, it's not sexual for me. Someone can say no, it is this for me, all we can say. But just before that, there is a line where we all can study, unlearn, learn all that. Where like I said, the example I just said, that a girl sitting and drinking a glass of water can be shot in multiple ways, and there are ways where we will feel titillated by watching it, can feel all that. Depends on the lens you use, depends how the camera is going to move, how she's going to drink, is there a water drop coming, falling, how you're feeling. Same wide shot, same girl sitting, that's going to invoke completely something else. So that's what I meant by so to study craft of not having a gaze through camera or through dialogues or through how you as an actor also to bring in a body language where you are, what kind of aesthetics you're playing, all that can be studied better, all that we all can be consciously learning it, and sometimes we still may fall into, we may not be aware this can happen, even if it's a female director, even if it's a female DOP, even if it's a female actress doing it, all can always happen.
But you're an actor who's able to sort of look at it again and then say, okay, can we shoot this again? Is that a collaborative
Depends,
process?
right? Sometimes when you're shooting, depends. Sometimes when you're shooting, you may not be watching the monitor. Depends. But in film, maybe it's good to watch that you have in control. But not all directors are open to public collaboration. But there are directors. For example, Pan was very extremely collaborative. Shuchi was also. So that is also there. But it sometimes you can't suddenly change also. The craft has to be learned through years and time. It takes a lot of time. Even if I think it is what it is doing, but later I'm like, that's not what it's doing. I have no idea when it was shot, this is how it's going to be, Even when I watch the monitor, it may not, sometimes it doesn't come to very apparent things may come to our eyes very easily. But apparent, first layer is to remove the most obvious way of gaze that we all can probably easily see. Then comes slowly difficult steps where it's complex and nuanced. Is it still existing there, So that takes more and more time to understand. So I give a room to learn and unlearn in that. Even as an actor, I have theatre actors, female actresses that I really respect, who bring their body of work in a way that I really look up to them, aspire to them. For one is like Nimi Rafe, she's an Adishakti. I think her body of work has the quality that I seek to or attain to. And the other friend is Adira. She's a writer. Yama. She's an actor in Nayata. When she performs on stage, even in film, she has that. Her body of work has the quality that I really look up to. It doesn't fall into this particular gaze. They've worked for years to attain that, I think. Yeah.
The other conversation that's come up a lot, and we spoke about it a little bit yesterday, is about the conversation around female nudity. And you have always maintained that you have been comfortable with nudity on screen. And when there have been conversations of women getting trolled, you, I remember, did a Facebook post which a friend and I had discussed, and it really stayed with me. And this was, I think, when we were in college, my friend and I were in college, about why it doesn't phase you in the same way anymore. Can you tell us a little bit about what that post was, where it came from, and because it really, in what you had written at that point, if I remember right, because I couldn't find the post again, it was about why you are no longer worried about that conversation, or why it doesn't bother you as deeply, right?
I mean, that is one. I think the post was in reaction to something was going on at that time in Kerala, but I just think that that's not the only journey I had to be what I am today.
Yeah.
A lot of like to when I think of myself, like from putting a safety pin when I wear a dupatta even below so that the dupatta doesn't fly off or something, from that person to I don't care is a part of a lot of things. A lot of other people around me also have contributed. Like where I was never comfortable in wearing even a sleeveless, to I was not comfortable wearing a sari if I show my belly even a bit. From that person to not, I really don't care. It's many things.
Yeah.
One of it was like, actually I had an appendicitis operation when I was 18. And I go to this mother's, like the hospital was specifically for childbirth. So there was a lot of pregnant women. And they were just like in pain and, like, especially in hospitals, the way you see that you start seeing body.
Yeah.
You end up seeing things like only as sexual body parts will go away, I think, a bit. Because for me, that is the first instant where I was surprised by, I used to be very shy and, like I can't even change clothes in front of my female friends. I used to be that person. So I started being, when you're sick and all, it's just, you can also use your body for sex. You can also use your body for everything else. It's just your body. Like, it's just there. Yeah. How is anything else is different? It just, that hospital experience was the first thing made me think slightly differently. Like, I'm like, this, because I was never in a hospital, like in a pregnancy ward or anywhere else. I suddenly see women are in pain. Nobody cares anything. Everybody is wanting to deliver their baby, but like they're in half clothes or no one is, and I was like, okay, that told me something first, I think. And then, of course, I continue to do theatre, and there is another place where because we sometimes do a lot of characters in a play, a 2-hour long play, we may do 3-4 different characters within that time. And in that time, we change costumes so fast, sometimes in the back, sometimes you have 5 minutes, sometimes you have 1 minute to change into the next person. And you definitely sometimes need help with another co-actor, or you may not be like have the time to run to the backstage or change. Sometimes you'll have to do it in the wings on the side. So you slowly, you'll be okay with not everything, but some things you start being okay. Like, okay, it's okay. It's okay, this person helped me. It's okay, this person a little bit. So, you slowly start becoming okay with that. Then I studied also in the theatre school outside, and there too, of course, their culture is definitely different. And nobody's caring, like, because it's a part of their job, and it's part of your job, and there is no other meaning to it. It's how. So I think already I was there. So then there was, when I came back from my theatre school there, I think by then I had already unless I'm involved with someone romantically or sexually, it is just body otherwise for me, or for my own pleasure. This body can be also a sexually exploring area for my own pleasure. But otherwise, in every other cases, it's just a body part that I used to move, or every other thing I do, like, really. And if it's for a film and I'm acting, and when it's like if I were to play sad, I am
Mm.
not going to be so sad. It's not me.
Mm.
That's really what the job is.
Mm.
It's like acting, to pretend, to act, to do that, So for me, that came into the body also, as much as how you have your separation in your mind. I don't want to be completely, there are actors who completely get involved, and I don't want to, because I like the separation, because I don't know, I can imagine me being completely insane if I completely indulge in a character that I become that person. No, I'm not becoming that person. I am acting as that character. I'm not acting that.
Mm.
You are fooling really people thinking that you become that person. That's how for me, acting means that. And
Mm.
the word itself says act, to enact, and that's how I see it. So that's where it started. And then this one director approached me, and there was a scene where my character is dead and she's naked and she's shaved her head and all. It was one of the scene of this character, and I read it and I was like, is he just putting the scene? Is it just for some kind of selling point? What is this? And
Mm.
I also thought that time, and my friend was also saying, I think most people will be doing that because of that. And I said, actually, inside me, I don't even care. I think many other scenes are also selling points. So
Mm.
why I am putting so much effort only in nude scenes, like as if like that is selling something more. Some
Mm.
other scenes are also in the film are, you can see it is kind of like you can sell poverty, you can sell. These are also marketing sometimes, the story that you want to say, this particular side of poverty can be sold. So can I make money out of it? One artist can do this if they want to.
Mm.
Doesn't have to involve nudity and sex only. Even a tragic story can be a selling story. Anything is from that aspect as well. So for me, particularly nudity or sex was not giving me that yuck feeling of why it is coming from only a selling point. Why not it's only just art? But art is also selling. So also that thought about art, should art be just as for art, or was it also to sell? How the money involved, isn't it a business also? How that, so that thoughts have also changed and shaped me differently in all this time. But back then, that time I was like, if his story itself is something he thinks, okay, this can be rightly sold right now in the market, then what's how I am differentiating that from just the nude scene or just that scene? It is equally bad. It's not something this is giving. That's how I felt. But I was like, but when I read his story, I was like, I liked it. It was written very nicely, and the director was quite clear about how he wanted it. And then I ended up doing that scene, and that time I was just, like we said, like I was shooting, exploring like how nude artists like in the world, and how do they engage with nudity. And again, coming back to my other theatre friends who I really appreciate, who also work with nude art and all, they also think of all these, like how the gaze is not there, how are you shooting, and what are you showing, and where the gaze doesn't come, where how far is the lens from the object. All these are part of this. So I also wanted to explore it. I was like, how will I shoot myself? Will I be also shooting in a certain aesthetics which is sensual, which is already driven by male gaze? Am I, but even when I'm being the feminist or whatever I am I also getting blinded by the beauty? What is beauty?
Right.
How aesthetics and beauty is deriving from what and everything. So this was there with me in my mind, and I don't think I have even succeeded in it. I still think even a selfie post that we put, how do we see beauty in that? Like where is this beauty coming from? Why do I think this is beautiful? Why do I think this is sensual? And sensual is okay. Why sensual is okay and why? So all these are like very layered questions. So I was also exploring with my laptop, like just to shoot, like, what if, like, how do I sit? If there is a man I love is sitting next to me, and if I'm nude, how would I sit? If I sit myself in the room, if I'm nude, how do I sit? Is there a difference? How does that even happen? So all these things I started thinking, and how women's clothes spaces, if we are not wearing clothes, like how do we sit? Do we still sit in a certain way, or do we walk in a certain way? Like all that. All these things I started thinking. Then a camera comes on, then how that is shooting needs. Also, so that's what I'm exploring. And I think all this, I don't know if I should tell the whole thing I said. Am I supposed to say? Like, I don't have a problem, but
Sure, you can. I leave it up to you if you're comfortable. We can. There's no restriction of time at all.
Yeah, so I then what happened is, like, I shot some of my like I was at home nude, and I was like, I'll shoot it. And I was pooping in my toilet. I was shooting that too. I don't know, I was shooting random things we do while we are nude. How do I move? I wanted to see that. Then after a few days, I deleted all those files because I just wanted to know how I behave when there is nobody. And if I'm nude, and if there is one person, like as an actor, I'm always curious about this. And then this laptop was not working, and then I had to give it to repair. And then when I got it back, I found they have put it in a desktop. Like it's called exclusive, and I would never use this word exclusive to begin with. And I was saying, why this file was called exclusive? What is this file? And I realized all those files that I've deleted has come back to this, and I don't know how they retrieved. I don't know what message they were coming to me, and I actually thought they're gonna put it out or something, but I have never seen, or neither my friends have seen anything. I anyway didn't bother about it also. Again, even that time, I thought it is probably illegal in India to have our own nude pictures. So I asked my parents, do you think this is illegal? They were like, no, it's okay. I mean, do you want to do something about it? Do you want to file a case? I said, I don't really care. If somebody uses, let them use. I don't know who can use it. It's like probably some really grotesque, disgusting videos. I don't even think, I mean, that can be also someone's fantasy, by the way. I don't know. But you never know the length of all that. But I was like, that's my feeling. So I knew that I was completely probably out of it. Like, that was another checkpoint. I was like, I don't even care if somebody uses, like, I'm not feeling anything. Like, I have no feeling of that kind. Like, because I shot it on my own. The only thing was, if somebody takes it without my knowledge, it's not a nice feeling. Definitely.
Yeah.
But when I shoot for a film, I know they have my consent to do it. Then I'm okay. And if people come and do it, I mean, I already knew what it was. Of course, somebody taking something without my permission is not a nice feeling, but I was like, okay, it's gone. Like, that was my attitude to life also. If something else I've lost, I lose my wallet, I'm like, I'm not going to cry for it all. I'm like, okay, it's gone now. We will deal with how it's going to come, right? That's what I thought. And the context was, I think, some people in Kerala, I think, had something about women should be careful what they put out. And this, and of course, I mean, one should be aware. I think a lack of awareness and a lack of information is not good. If your photo is out there, how all can be used, and especially coming up like deep fake or AI, like how it can be used. Like, we know the length it can go now, and knowing that and then knowingly putting out there. Not knowing and putting out there, somebody getting scared is not nice. I just think that all of us should be aware that what all can be done, and are we able to take it or not. And that is one thing. Otherwise, for me, I realize that I really don't care. I can't care less. I really don't care.
I think a lot of it also, I mean, in your conversations and you've spoken, and there's a lot of lovely interviews you've done in Malayalam about your upbringing, right? The way Maitreyan and Jayashree have sort of sculpted you almost and molded you into the person that you are. And Jayashree and Maitreyan are your parents, who you refer to as Maitreyan and Jayashree. So I remember you had put out on Instagram this letter that your father had written to you when you turned 18, which is a fascinating letter. If you can tell us a little bit, for those who don't have a context, the role of your father also as an activist and your parents as an activist, and how that's shaped you, and what it is he actually told you when you turned 18.
I mean, it's definitely not that he talked to me on the 18th birthday only. He's been continuously in conversation with me from childhood. So it was like, it was like a culmination was added to it.
Yeah.
No, like, I think one thing I liked about my parents is like, my father is a very atheist. He's a very strong atheist. And my mother is probably more of an agnostic person, but whatever they believed in, they didn't force it upon me. That was the one thing. I was religious. I used to go to temple. Then I got fascinated by Bible. I used to go to church. I was very fascinated by confession and everything. So they let me be, while having conversation with me. They had their way of that. I thought didn't push me in a direction that, you can develop, like, if something is really, like very strict and they're like, you can't do this or something, then you feel like rebelling against it, wanting to, just because you want to rebel, not even because you want to do it. So the one thing I liked about my parents was like, they were always letting me be. The only thing they kind of probably invoked in me is like, are you kind or humble, or are you able to forgive or say sorry and recognize your own mistakes when you hurt someone. These were the things they were mostly engaging with me too. And I remember my prayer the first day he was dropping me to school. He said, Kani, I just want to say one thing to you. If someone asks you what caste you are or what religion, you can say that I don't believe in. You may not understand what this means exactly because I was just 5.5. But you can just say this. Slowly you will know what it means. Like that. So this was there. Such sometimes here and there he has said things to me to go into without me really recognizing what it means. The other thing I thought is like both, particularly my mother has given me a proper sex education when I was a kid. So I think that helped me not to encounter any child sexual abuse, which really has helped me. I think like I've been very aware and how to be careful. I'm not saying that people have gone through that because there is no such thing. I'm saying I was very privileged in a way that she talked to me in a way that how much one should be careful. And the one thing she said, it's like, if such things happens to you, to be smart about it. Like she said that if you resist, sometimes they can kill you.
Yeah.
So she told me in a way that try to be alive, to be smart and to discreet and only tell me. Like not even to my prayer, to come and tell me, like to me, to a woman, like to me, like that, So because we had a lot of people coming to our home, like all kinds of people, and she said all of their friends, but you never know what else. So from that very young age, she found the language to tell me, and I remember me telling it to my friends at that age too, at that time, and I think it helped all of us also. Like, and I remember close to my home, there was one girl had an issue, and she came and told us, and we knew what happened. At the age of 6 and 7, we knew this is child sexual abuse, and I thought that was such a it was really good education. All of us had that, right? That is another thing I really thought was helped me in navigating myself from. Sometimes even, of course, you might end up in situations, but I remember like me being very cautious. I will never allow myself to, because I'll always make sure my trustworthy grown-up is with me, either my grandmother or my mother. Like, I just know that you have, in Kerala, anywhere, like you never know, like, but again, there's a lot of luck also in terms of while I was conscious about it, I was lucky to not be in some situation. That's also is there for sure, but I would have known what happened to me. That's what I meant. Like it was again no lack of information. That is another thing I had humongous respect for them. And another thing was like, of course, I had fallen in love when I was a teenager and everything, and how they dealt with that. I thought my mother came to me the day I fell in love, and I think they both understood I was already in love. And I remember she came and said, "Can you lock the door?" And she said, "Sit here." And she said, it is very normal to fall in love at this age, and it's okay. And inside me, I'm like, okay. But you may feel this is the person you want to marry. You may feel this is the person you want to, and you will give these promises to this person. And it is possible, knowing you, it is possible that you may, after a few years or something, you may feel you don't want to be this person. But the thing is that if you give all these promises, it can really cause a lot of hurt to the other person. So before jumping into, promises and everything, can you be in love, you do, but try to be careful of the other. I mean, I think be sensitive to that person too. Do not give a lot of false promises and everything. Like go slow, like if you can, because it can affect people's mental health. You may be stronger. If you are not stronger, we are there to take care of. Most children may not even have someone, and they will really be heartbroken. So she was coming from a place to be sensitive to my boyfriend. So I was like, what's happening here? So I'm saying that all these, my conversation with my parents were like all of these things a lot of time. And the other thing is like, mostly they were like, I think like to have a certain friendship. I've never lied to them, for example. Had to never, because I always knew I can say, and they will give me the perspective what they think, and it is always said and done. And as opposed to a lot of my friends from that time, they are continuously lying to their parents, that I can say everything, and I feel they are more going to be in trouble if because you're under 18 and you sometimes don't know what is right and wrong.
Was it strange for you to watch your friends sort of go through that? Did it seem, or did you have a conversation with your parents? Because your parents also never got married, right? They remained as partners.
Yeah. So no, like when my friends would lie to their parents, I used to feel uncomfortable. I used to say, I used to kind of maintain a relationship with my close friends that they can tell me everything. I did the same relationship my parents gave me to my friends. So that I felt that they will tell me everything. So they will not fear that I will judge them or anything. So that I can navigate them to the right. Maybe, we can discuss pros and cons and say that maybe, like even, and I know that if you start saying, that is not right, people stop telling you what they are going to do. This is very much with kids, like, but even grown-ups may do it, but and I thought one thing my parents did is completely, of course, when I was a child, there were things that they would say this you can't, or things, but very mild, and they will reason out that with me. And I felt the one thing is like, I thought is like they enabled my brain in a way that I lenient towards reasonable things. If somebody reason out things with me, I thought that is right to do, and I could see it. So that's what they tried from childhood. So it is always a conversation, and we are arriving at a decision together. And they said, once you're 18, you can take full risk, take your action. Even when you think maybe it is wrong, you can. It's up to you. It's your responsibility then. But till you're a child, till we raise you, there are certain things that we may not be able to agree. So we will talk about it and why it is. So it was always a conversation. So I felt very safe and comforting, even in my doubts. So sometimes when you're teenage, you can have things that you think is not right, and I will talk to them like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. What do you think?
Yeah.
That approachability was there. I mean, which might be in other families too, but I'm saying all these are what I think was very well was shaping me. And then Maitreya's letter, I mean, it was written in Malayalam. And my best friend, which I found that month, we both were in a bus, and we were going for a theatre performance journey from Kerala to Karnataka to Maharashtra. And he just gave me this letter with a dairy milk, and he just said, okay, happy birthday, and he went. And I started reading, and I was very overwhelmed, and I started crying. And my friend was like, what is written in it? She's from Maharashtra, so she didn't understand. So in my broken English, I tried to translate it. Then she started also crying. We both are happy and crying. So in fact, she's another reason I was like, she said, can I translate it? So she has translated it in Marathi also. Because she was like, can I share it to my friends? I said, okay. Even though it was a personal letter, I thought most of my female friends have been very overwhelmed by it, and they were very happy or energized to read it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that's why it was kind of shared publicly. And of course, like, it was not that Deka thing. It was a continuum of his parenting from some time, and it was a continuation of that too. And that's how I felt it, but it was still overwhelming.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even for me, when I read it, I thought it was I can't imagine how wholesome and overwhelming it must feel to have a father tell you that, which is very special. It's truly special. But I wanted to come a little bit to what is happening in the Malayalam film industry, right? For the last 7 years.
You tell me, you know better.
I know we've spoken about it intermittently, but I wanted to kind of get a sense of. So, I mean, we know that in 2017 there was the actor assault case, and subsequently, because the women came together and formed the WCC, which is the Women in Cinema Collective, the state was pushed to put together the Hema Committee, and the report was released last year. We've seen a lot of fallout and impact of the report coming out. I know that you've always stood in solidarity with the movement, but you've also made a choice not to be a member of the WCC. Can you kind of help me understand where this choice came from and how you have been engaging with the churn that's been happening in the industry?
I mean, not being part of committees, like, I've been that person. It's just nothing to do with WCC. Even in my younger age, my best friend, she formed a group called Feminist of Kerala, like a Kerala feminist group she made, and I was not part of that too in the beginning. I said, I just felt that I don't work that way personally, which I've always noticed that I don't work well with in an organization sometimes. I have humongous respect for people who has that kind of rigorous practice and dedication to it. I'm just incapable of that. I am a bit of my own alone journey person. But I see a great value in organized way of resisting and learning, unlearning, and shaping our future in a better way. I can be part of it, but not in paper. Even with here where I live, like we have a company, but I just don't want to ever officially work there. I do work with them, but I want to work out. It's just maybe I have commitment issues there. I think that's why really simply to put, that's my thing. I work better when I'm outside, and I can be. That's better. The moment I join, in fact, the only place I've joined was WCC. Even for a brief period in my entire life, the one organization I thought maybe I'll still join was WCC because I felt so much for it, the need of it. But then I realized in some ways, like I am still not the person who can be inside something and work the rigor that it expects to and to give it. I don't think then I will feel I'm not doing right. So it's better that I'm out, and then however possible way that I can be part of it, I will be, not just to WCC, but whoever has the intentions that I think I want to be part of,
You were also never part of the AAMMA, the Artists Association in Kerala.
Yeah, I was never.
Okay. And what did you feel when sorry, go on, you were saying something. No, I was saying, what did you feel when the Hema Committee report was released, and when you saw the findings of the report? What was your first sort of like reaction? Did you think it would come out at all?
Because it took years, I didn't think.
Yeah.
But I still thought it will come. I'll tell you why I thought it will come. Because the way WCC is working. I have so much respect for everyone in that, and I know they are very resilient, and they will make sure it will come. They will do something for it to come out. They will do their best for it to come out. That was there, so I knew it was going to come out, but I didn't know when it was going to come out. But I thought, I somehow felt that it will, because they really, I think the time I was in there, I know that how much they see it and go behind it and not gonna stop it in the way. That's not the spirit I felt. So I knew it is going to come. This is what I felt. And when it came out, it was not what I read is because from childhood you are hearing from your friends to everyone that you meet. If you've ever talked to another fellow female, you are hearing many such things. It's nothing. Oh, this happened. I never felt. Or this is happening, now it's written. But what was amazing for me, it was like that it finally came out, and the impact of it, and for a lot of people, I think it was like how this happened, like for a lot of people. So that way the impact is very powerful, and I'm so glad it came out the way how it unraveled is really commendable. But for me, I have also given statement while that time I was there, and so we've all given our own experiences and how to share and what exactly happened and how we navigated our situations back in the days and what happened exactly. So yeah, that's what I thought. But what are we going to do about it, and how the system is going to change for it? It may take time, but it's better than ever before for me. Better than ever before.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk a little bit about, I was watching an interview you did recently, and there was the conversation of the concept of integrity at work. And this came about, I think the context of it was that there was a question about the film Biriyaani, which has, been talked about a lot as being an Islamophobic film, and you were questioned as to why you were part of it, and you've always maintained that you had your reasons. And in this interview, I think you spoke about how you have a lot of respect for people who work in a way where they say, okay, I don't agree with this and I don't want to engage with it, and this is where I draw the line. And for you have felt a bit differently in terms of why you would and would not engage. Is there, for you as an artist, is there a line anywhere where you say, okay, this I will not do? Or is it a constant sort of going back and forth? I ask this also because, last year there was, say, a release of a film like Animal. And then there was this huge conversation of, should it even have been made into a film? Should the actors have acted in it? Does it glorify a certain form of masculinity and violence? And then there was another section saying this is art and of course, anything should be spoken about and should be allowed to speak about. So for you, where do you sort of stand on that as an artist when you engage with scripts that you may or may not agree with also?
Yeah. I mean, it's a big question, and like you said, I have gone many places with my different thoughts at different times.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my artist friends who I respect, we sometimes sit and think we should be able to just tell stories. We don't want to. Art has such a big influence on people's life. There's no doubt about that. But being only making politically correct films, is that the right way to go also approach art? We do discuss in our personal spaces sometimes how to go about it. But coming to this, I'm just going to say about Biriyaani because even All We Imagine as Light, there are like people I really look up to have critiqued in it, its politics being completely wrong, and I am part of that, and this film is getting celebrated. But because so I'm saying that it's a discourse, like when you make something, when you're part of something, you are continuously in engagement with the audience and all kinds of people, and you're putting it out there, and there will be discourses, and that is what is the most healthy space, I think. And we learn something from that, and now we unlearn something from that. And we agree or we disagree. We start to think about it. So a lot of people may like this film, All We Imagine, I said, but there are a lot of people I am close to, and not just close to, people that I look up to in their way of looking at cinema, has said how problematic the film is in its politics. So that is also there. So I'm saying it's not just Biriyaani. There are everything I've done also can be a bit. That's what I think. The for me, the importance is in being able to engage in that discourse. So this discourse can't happen is the problem. If as an actor to do it. So did I have that thought before doing All We Imagine? I did have that thought. I did talk to Pyle about that too, but I still decided to do it. So for me, where I draw the line is sometimes there are nuanced problems, sometimes there is more deliberated, and that's a spectrum. In that, if it is something extremely deliberately on the face for me, I may not do it. And I feel this, and I will talk to him, this is or her, this is the problem. This is to the director. I'll say this can be the problems I may see, and hence I don't want to. But if it's not something deliberate, and they say, see, this is not what Kani I'm going. For example, Sajin Babu, the director Biriyaani, he's never seen the film as Islamophobic. He's saying that's not what my intention is. These are what I'm trying to tell to the film. And did he fail in doing that? Even though he thought that and he made the film and it turned out to be Islamophobic, if that's what others say, and not everyone, some people may still say, no, it is still not Islamophobic. It is not that, and it will be. So for me, when Sajin talked to me, of course, he hasn't directed it, and he said, these are my intentions. That intentions were convincing for me. And he said, I have the right to say it because he said this is his story. This is his life story as well.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, do I want to be still part of it all? So it is a risk you're taking. Like, oh, maybe when he makes this aspect of it may still come out, even though he doesn't intend to. Do you want to take that risk or not? How much as an actor you have control over that? This is the thing. This is something, and when I feel this is clearly going to be a very deliberately, politically not right, according to my concept, I may choose no. When it is ambiguous, where I sometimes don't understand, and I'm like, okay, maybe he has right, then I may end up doing it. This is also there. That is how I see it right now. It all can always change,
evolve,
evolve and change. But mostly, this has been for a long period of time. This has been my conviction, and then I'm saying that then there can be a story comes which I like the director, I like the way my characters, I like a lot of things, but I can see nuanced and very subtle way of politically incorrect things that is also coming. That will also come very, very effectively, strongly to those audience. But then it still is problematic, right?
Yeah.
And but I am still doing it again. So I'm saying that ideally, as an artist, if I want to be able to do something, I am fully convinced. And it is again nothing for me. It is not alone to do with only the script and story. It is to do also to do with the aesthetics, many things, camera and everything of the film. Like to be able to portray the story in the most right way that I think. As an actor, you hardly have that hold actually in the film, in a filmmaking. It's always going to be an author's choice, author's medium at the end of the day. From their edit to many things can be always changed.
Yeah.
So it is the moment you decide to be an actor, you are knowingly or unknowingly going to be part of sometimes things that you end up doing things you don't agree. This is something I think is not going to be so easy that. Unless like I really do only like then once in 10 year or 8 year only maybe I may end up doing something or I may never end up doing something. If I want to do something that I absolutely believe in, not just in the politics of the film or just the story of the film, also the aesthetics to every aspect of the film that I would love to be part of as an artist with full integrity of mine. You know, that's my position about it right now.
Did you watch Animal?
Yeah, I did.
What did you feel about the film?
I thought the film was, I don't know, it was very controversial. No, maybe nobody will watch it. For me, the film was not, I will come to the politics of the film, but I'll just say what I thought otherwise about it. The film was not structurally well to begin with. That was, if I were to take the same director as the previous film, I thought it was well structured. Arjun Reddy, superbly well structured. The emotional graph is so right. It's tight and it's performed well. It's the structure was quite well for it. And when it came to Animal, I thought the structure was very broken. It didn't come through. Actors performed well in some scenes. Some scenes were, I thought, was quite commendably performing. Some scenes were intense, but it fell off. It really got broken in structure and everything. Hence, the film was not working to me already.
Yeah.
But if it comes, people are only talking about the politics of the film. For me, I talk about all of it, like because the aesthetics also and structure, how to make the film, and all is also equally important in a film, I think. And if I were to come to politics, I don't know if the director intended to, compared to his previous film, intended to glorify this character. When I thought of it, he is called the animal, I thought, and he is behaving in such a way. And I thought the female protagonist was questioning that. In that way, I thought his second film was more slightly better than his previous film in politics. What was my experience. I didn't see glorification. I just felt that, the way the father behaved caused all this.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, but he can course correct and change if they want to. But the director is not particularly saying he will not change ever in future, or he's just saying this can cause this, something like that. And I don't personally believe that can cause only that or anything, but that is what he's saying, is what I thought. But of course, we are living in a country where stars have a lot of influence and everything. So if main stars were to do that, and it is possible people will feel, I can behave this way because it's right. I'm not saying that won't happen. It happens when we had Shaktiman, kids used to jump for terrace. So we know where we come from. So that influence is definitely there. But for me, as an artist or as an actor or if as a person, when I watched Animal, I particularly didn't feel the director was particularly emphasizing this is how men should be, or this is glorified, this character. I felt that he's saying, if you had a childhood like this where you did not get attention or you were not taken care properly, you may turn out to be this person, is all I felt, really. But I thought the film was not structurally well made compared to But in the previous film, as opposed to, I felt a glorification of a lot of things.
Masculinity and that kind of behavior.
This is really what I thought. I don't know if this is going to kill me. I'm scared right now.
No. Before I let you go,
I get killed by all the people, not just I get killed by also politically correct people. I'll also get killed by all kinds.
No, I think it's fine. It's your opinion, of course. And but before I let you go, Kani, I want to ask you, what are you watching or reading that you've enjoyed in 2024 that you really celebrated watching and reading?
Watching every day. I don't watch so many films. I watch very few. But the recently what I watched was Ullorka. I thought it's really such a nice film. I watched Artam and I thought it's wonderful screenplay and script. I thought so well written, the dialogues, everything is, it was in the fringe of, you can feel that it's preachy or, can fall into, trying to teach us how to think, but the director and the writer are not the same person. He managed to write it in a way that it just felt so organic, Artam. So I thought that's so well written. Ullorku was another way. Like, I just really loved the film, and I thought the character of Roshi Mams is not easy to write or easy to enact. It's very, you empathize with that person too. That is such a commendable work from the director to give that aspect of that side as well. That was very, very, very interesting. I thought, like, really difficult to achieve. And of course, the story itself was great, but I thought particularly that character is not that easy to conceive for me when I think. Then I think these are I didn't watch much things. Then I watched Sister Midnight. Radhika Apte has acted in it. I thought it was a fun film, and I like a bit of quirky, musical, and a bit that kind of films I like. I'm not very much into dealing a certain issue. We will talk about that kind of. It's not my. I like a story. I like to live with random imagination. Like, like a child will show their drawing and you're like, wow, this is how they thought of sunset. And I like appreciating such beauty, and it kind of invokes more things in me. So Sister Midnight, I thought I'm not saying I loved the film. I mean, I thought it made me think suddenly differently, or something it did to me. And I thought Radhika performed brilliantly in that, and she's incredible in it. So these were the things I watched. What I read is, again, I don't read so much fiction. I sometimes read articles that are not. I read your piece. I thought it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's true. I was like, wow, so well written. Yeah, but I read scripts basically. Otherwise, I read in Malayalam, and I mostly revisit who I like. I love Bashir, or I love A. Saraswati Amano. So I read that. Rather, I am so bad at finding contemporary writers. I'm really bad at it. Otherwise, what I read is like, I love reading articles about new discoveries on neuroscience or something. These are things I read. I like. The other thing I've started reading is Robert Sapolsky's Determined, but I haven't finished it. But yeah, these are things I read.
That's so nice. But thank you so much, Kani. It's been a privilege and more than anything, a joy to officially have a conversation.
I'm just telling you.
No, I think it should be fine. It should be fine. It should be fine. Thank you. Thank you, Kani. And thank you, viewers, for watching this interview. For such long form content, please do go subscribe to both News Minute and newslaundry.com.